Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Burning Order podcast. I'm Jake Scarborough, joined by my co-hosts Tyler McIntosh, Fidel Fabian, and Connor Passman. How you guys doing today?
Pretty well.
Pretty good.
Very good.
All right. Well, we got quite a bit to talk about. Obviously, starting off with this past weekend in Austin, Texas, for NASCAR's events at the Circuit of the Americas. Starting off with the truck race with reviews. Tyler, your go.
I thought it was a pretty good race. I think I'm not going to say Zane Smith backed into another one, but I think Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain were the trucks of the day. I really didn't watch much of it, but for what I was watching, Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain was in the lead, and then Zane Smith manages to win it. And then also set his truck on fire during a burnout. So that was interesting. But I'd say for the parts I did watch, I'd say probably about a 6, something like that.
Yeah, I gotta go with Ty right here. Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain obviously class of the field. Chastain had a fuel pump issue, which cost him a bunch of positions, and a lot of action on track, except for battles for the lead here and there. But yeah, Zane Smith has a lot of momentum going into this season.
I did not get to see this race. I had some St. Patrick's Day festivities earlier in the day. So I came back though, and the first thing I saw on the TV was Zane Smith's car on fire. So just off of that moment, I give it a 9 out of 10.
I mean, yeah, that photo does go hard, as the cool kids say nowadays. But the race itself, I have to agree with Tyler. Chastain, Busch, they had the trucks to beat that day. It was nice seeing a lot of the, I guess, underdogs doing pretty well. We saw obviously Taylor Gray's first race in the Truck Series. He was running pretty well. Tanner Gray was running very well. Deegan was up there. So a lot of the future stars in NASCAR terms sitting up there. Raja Karuth had a good day, obviously. Someone I was surprised about that was kind of not really contending for the win was Sanchez, because he's been up there each week, and this was the first one, so maybe the road courses are going to be where he slips. So who really knows? But yeah, Zane Smith winning that one. You good?
Yeah, my bad. I called. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what that was. I thought you died. But yeah, Zane Smith winning that one. That's about it. I don't really know where to. That kind of just shat on my day.
I actually just remembered an honorable mention for me was Caden Honeycutt, Truck Series driver that his first road course he's been on, he gets a 15th place finish. So for that team that has been quick and just not had the finishes they wanted, that's huge for them. So congrats to them on that.
And you also know he was practicing for that one because you were literally doing C-Fix lobbies with him.
Yeah,
you were just matching with him.
He was insanely quick. He was ridiculous, to be honest.
Well, glad to see that transitioned.
Yeah.
More people getting an idea of how the whole iRacing thing works. Weird how that's been like the hot topic the past like 3 weeks. Anyways, the Xfinity race. A lot of people are sour about that one. So Tyler, I'll let you go ahead and take things.
I'm going to be totally honest. I thought this was one of the best road course races I've ever seen. There was action all throughout the field. The battle was insane. You had AJ Allmendinger and William Byron going at it pretty much all day. It was fantastic. If I had to rate the race, I'd probably say 8.9. The finish was good. Just the whole entire race was great.
Yeah, racing was great. Sheldon Creed has, I don't know what kind of luck. It's like going into a casino with $17,000 and losing all that money. He has the worst luck. He was leading the race, and then Adrian Allmendinger, he moved him one way or another. He won the lead, and he got it in the worst way possible. Either way, it was great Xfinity Series road course racing. William Byron, I thought he had a shot to win, but I guess Allmendinger doing Allmendinger things at road courses.
Yeah, this was the recovery stage of my day. And I don't remember really a lot just because of that. But the I do remember is the battle between AJ Allmendinger and William Byron. Great racing, and I'm going to give this race an 8.23 out of 10.
You're so extra, it's unbelievable. I don't want to comment too much on the whole Sheldon Creed AJ Allmendinger contact because I want to do mention the whole Cup Series drivers racing lower series in a later topic on here. But the race as a whole, it didn't seem too bad. You know, what do you really expect from Coda? I feel like we saw from across all three series that having no stages was was honestly a benefit. We saw a lot of weird strategies play out where people were going for extra points, seeing what they could do. It was either long-term effect, go for the points now, or go for the long haul and try putting yourself in position for a win. But the Xfinity race was, I mean, what can you really expect from Coda? We didn't see much of it past few times we've gone here. It's not a main race that it's just kind of a season filler in my opinion. The only thing interesting about it is when we get a caution, everyone seems to send it into turn one and wreck each other, which we saw a lot of in the Cup race, for example. But I don't know. If I had to rate it, it would just be like a 5 out of 10 because it really gave me nothing to say it was memorable for. Just kind of had its own little moments. But aside from that, we had the Cup Series race, which shit show at the end. I think we can all agree on that. But nevertheless, Ty.
Yeah. Watching the whole race, obviously, I think story of the day was Jordan Taylor qualified fourth. We thought he was going to do well, but I think once he got into the race conditions, obviously qualifying's different because for him being a GT driver, he's used to having qualifying laps and being on his own. But what I think got him was not being used to everybody flinging it into turn one and running each other with, I'm going to be honest, no respect at points. He kept getting absolutely knocked left and right, so that was not fun to watch. But I think obviously William Byron, second day in a row, goes out and has a car that was at times quick enough to win, battling Tyler Reddick. And I'm going to be honest, other than the fact that the overtime took an hour from when Brad Keselowski spun to get to the end, it was an hour.
Wow.
It was an hour. I saw that on Twitter today. It was, I think the main reason for it was because all of the pace laps were like 3 minutes long or longer. I think it was like maybe 4 minutes at a time. So it was pretty bad. I didn't feel like an hour, but looking at it now, I'm like, yeah.
It did not feel like that.
Turn one was just stupid. Every restart, the final restart especially. And then I think how many pileups did we see coming out of turn one? 5, 6.
Not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I apparently not enough, but yeah. And then we saw a little bit of trackhouse drama. Chastain, Suarez not looking too happy with each other, so that's something. I don't know if Ross Chastain is somebody I want to have on my bad side. We talked about that with Denny Hamlin. Other than that, Tyler Reddick getting a win he deserves. No bad luck for him this race. I'd say 7.
Yeah. Cup race at first it was looking like a great race. You know, I think they really tweaked the package for road course races this season compared to last season. It was looking like that until the Keselowski spin, which caused the first overtime. And then after the second overtime, I knew it was just going to be 2021 Indy road course all over again. Uh, yeah, just I remember Kyle Busch talking about, I think like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, saying how the field has lost respect after him trying to talk to people, and it really showed at Coda, like really bad. It felt humiliating when Jensen Button, Jordan Taylor, and I think Raikkonen even talked about how insane the field was going into turn one, just sending it 3 wide, 4 wide, maybe 5 wide, and then random guys would just get taken out due to all the chaos. But it was still overall a good race, just a really bad taste at the end.
Yeah, I agree with a lot with what Fidel said. Great race throughout. You had Tyler Reddick, you had William Byron. Looked like one of those two was going to win outright. And then towards the end, you had the fuel, and you saw Tyler Reddick, William Byron, you saw Ross Chastain coming up. Suarez was apparently good on fuel, so he was running down all of them. And then right as he gets there, caution comes out. And everything just gets thrown around. Tyler Reddick, though, he didn't have the greatest restarts, especially going into turn one, but in the end, he held them all off, every single one of them. And I'll give this race 6.38 out of 10.
I don't know. Yeah, there's really not much to take out of it other than the whole late race overtime stuff. That was just a disaster. I remember we were watching it and Fabian just kept saying the same thing over and over again. All they're doing is delaying the inevitable, and that was Tyler Reddick winning. I've seen multiple people say that on Twitter as well. So I don't understand NASCAR's take on it, because they were throwing cautions for the weirdest things, because they'd start rolling and sure they'd be slow, but I don't get why there wasn't a caution for that last one where a bunch of cars were still slow with damage, dirt's still across the track, they're hardly driving it back to pit road, and they don't throw a caution. So it was kind of NASCAR proving again that it's inconsistency, and I think now hearing that the overtime took an hour, that's probably why. It was the whole what was it, Kansas, and like the late right before the 2010s Gen 4 era, when Greg Biffle won and they were just like, let's call it, send everyone home type deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember which race exactly it was, but I just remember the Greg Biffle win from it. So yeah, I just think it's one of those scenarios, but NASCAR is staying inconsistent on their caution calls. This is nothing new, obviously. Awesome to see that Kimmy, Jensen, Jordan, they all kind of praise NASCAR in a sense for how crazy the races can be, but at the same time, that's a shitty experience for them, because every restart we saw multiple of them, like Kimmy, Jordan, they had an opportunity at the very end to be in the win picture and just got bodied out of the way by these guys just sending it into turn one. Now it's sad to see, and people are blaming the track, people are blaming the drivers. I do think this is a driver thing, because there's no way we do the same thing at Indianapolis, we do the same thing at Coda, somewhat Watkins Glen, and it's obviously not a track thing. It's the drivers being desperate in an overtime situation, and that's why I hate the idea of overtime, because it allows for stuff like that. People are going to drive desperately, people are going to do whatever they can for a win. Don't blame them, but at the same time, it leads for stuff like that, and it's just not a good look for the sport. But as Tyler mentioned, that will kind of toss us into our next topic, the Daniel Suarez, Ross Chastain incident. Obviously, Suarez, after the race, had some words with Chastain on their way back to the pits after the checkered flag. He moved Chastain and Bowman, bumping both of them as they were entering pit road to basically get out of their cars for the day. So, obviously, some inter-team drama. I don't know. What's your guys' takes on it, Ty?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know what it's about. I mean, I know that it probably has something to do with turn one. That's the biggest guess I have. Because I know we saw Daniel get punted by Haley into somebody, because I think Justin Haley completely hopped the curb, which sent Suarez into like Harvick or something. But I mean, it's certainly not something that I think Trackhouse wants to see, and I don't think they should be doing this, because they're both easily going to make the playoffs this year, wins or not. I mean, they have been quick every week. Daniel Suarez, I think, was top 5 in points for how many weeks to start? I think he might still be now. And Ross Chastain's the point leader. So I think when you look at the situation, it's something that I would want to nip in the bud quickly. Because it's I mean, it happened. It's one race. Nothing significant happened. They both finished the race. Obviously, maybe not the way that they should have. But I think for the hope of the competition of the team, that they should probably nip it in the bud and move on.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Ty on this one. I don't know what caused Suarez to be so angry at Chastain and Bowman, but what he did is a serious issue, kind of like what Ty Gibbs did last year at Texas, where he just doored, I forget who, on pit road. There's a lot of staff, lots of crew members on there, and that's just a place where you don't retaliate someone on the racetrack. Uh, I'm probably gonna guess maybe a point stock, maybe a fine from NASCAR. It's gonna be something, but let's just hope Trackhouse can figure out this entire situation out before it causes actual championship drama for the both of them.
Yeah, I think Daniel Suarez will probably get penalized either tomorrow at some point. But as for the drivers going at each other, I don't think it's anything that's gonna continue or affect any other races that these guys are racing against each other. But yeah, not a smart move. It immediately brought me back to when Brad Keselowski did it back in 2014, and he had Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth going after him. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it could have been worse.
Well, my whole take on it is from what I noticed when Suarez was battling Chastain in the later stages of the race, they were both making contact with each other. Obviously, this is a race where last year Chastain made contact with quite a few people, including for the race win. Bowman was kind of doing the same thing this year as well. He was kind of just bumping people out of the way. So I feel like it was just kind of a nuisance, and that's why Suarez spoke up about it. But hopefully this is a change in a direction for Trackhouse, dealing with the whole Chastain thing, because it seems like whenever Chastain does get into any contact with anybody and it leads to drama, Trackhouse is kind of like, oh yeah, that's our guy, that's what the sport's all about. But maybe when it's teammates at each other's throat because one's unhappy that the other teammate's driving like this and expects to be driven fine when he's driven through. I mean, I can understand Suarez's spot. He's probably annoyed of this and is tired of it. So maybe Trackhouse will start treating Chastain's drama per se a little differently. Uh, start getting onto him for this. Maybe we'll see an end to the whole Denny Hamlin Chastain rivalry. But yeah, that's not what you need. Is teammates actually having a rivalry. That's the last thing you want to see. We saw it with Anthony Alfredo, Jeb Burton last year in Xfinity. The closest thing we've had to a rivalry besides that was, I guess, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, but that was a friendly rivalry. Those two just pushed each other to the limits. That's nothing compared to this. So maybe we'll see something different. As for the Bowman part, though, I feel like that's just how it's gonna be. There's nothing changing that. These two are mostly near each other during the races. They're battling for position each week. So it's going to be weird to see how that plays out for the most part, but I don't know. I don't really see Suarez running through people most of the time. To be fair, I don't think I've ever seen him just run through somebody. But I do know Fabian's going to disagree with that because he's a Kyle Busch fan, so why about it? But for the most part, I don't really have anything else to add on. But we obviously have another storyline coming out of COTA, being the Cup guys racing lower series, or just, that whole mumbo jumbo. That thing's been a topic for a while, but obviously a lot of people mad about the fact that Allmendinger got into Creed, lockup or not. That's not how you want to see an Xfinity full-time driver get moved out of the way by a guy that's racing Cup. So, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the whole, I guess, bushwhacking scenario?
Um. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess I'm asking two Kyle Busch fans this.
Well, no, like at the same time that I'm a Kyle Busch fan, I think at some points in times, as biased as I might be, I think it's good for the sport depending on where it's at and how many of them are doing it. I think, if it's a place like COTA, and a lot of it is younger guys that are having their first road course races, having somebody that they can look at their data or even race them, they're learning from them. I mean, I understand that, at this point, it is a race win that they're taking away, but seeing what somebody's doing different from you, especially somebody like Kyle Busch who has many years of experience, or William Byron who is insane at learning and picking up and helping up. Like I think I've seen just the growth of William Byron in general in road courses. And I think part of that has to be due to the fact that he's been in situations where he's been racing against Kyle Busch or situations like that. And AJ Allmendinger, I do see where it becomes an issue if they're taking out a full-time driver that's running for points and running them like that. I mean, that was a bit egregious. I can say the same thing that Kyle Busch has done, some stupid stuff. Ron Hornaday. So I think if they're doing their own thing and they're just there to race and go for the win and they're doing it respectfully, at that point, I would certainly say that it's good for the sport. But if they're doing what Allmendinger did and what Kyle Busch has done, probably not. So I think the limit on races as well has helped that.
Yeah, once again, I gotta agree with Ty on this one. I think going back to an old quote Nemechek said, I think he said that he's happy that people like Kyle Busch go down to Xfinity and trucks to race against them so that those younger drivers can learn from him and try to be better themselves. But there has to be obviously a limit, and that's what NASCAR implemented back in 2017, 2018, where Cup drivers can only race about 5 races in Xfinity and trucks. And I think it was a good thing. Obviously, I don't know how you can deal with a situation with a Cup driver wrecking a full-time Xfinity or truck driver. So all back in 2011, Kyle was parked for the Cup race for what he did to Ron Hornaday, but I don't, I don't know if that's gonna work every single time because you just start parking all the best drivers in Cup. Who are you gonna get to substitute for them? But not a whole lot I can talk about, so I'll throw it to you, Connor.
Yeah, you guys pretty much summed it up. In my opinion, I'm just sick and tired of listening to people complain about it because let's be honest. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to go away where they just can't run these races at all because that would just, I feel like that would take away from or take viewers away from watching the Roller Series. I feel like, but I sat through all those years, those late 2000s, early 2010 Kyle Busch years. I've sat through it. I've hated it. But at the same time, it is a good thing for these younger drivers to kind of get a feel and see all these veteran drivers and whatnot. Yeah, I had no idea where I was going with that, but yes, at the end of the day, I agree with these two.
Well, I've been kind of vocal about it before. Obviously not on here, just kind of on my own. Is when it comes to Cup guys racing lower series or Xfinity lower, whatever the case, it either needs to be pre 2009, where if you're racing in there, you're running for points, or we just need to not allow it. And that's how I feel. It's either they're there full time running for points or they're not there at all. But obviously, with the scenario given point that these guys are racing no matter what, they're racing a limited schedule, like 5 races or whatever the hell it is. They can't race during the playoffs. If that's going to be the scenario, then fans need to get over the fact if a higher series guy moves someone out of the way. I can understand it if we look back on, what was it, Xfinity Darlington, when Chastain was in the 42, when Harvick threw him up in the wall. That was stupid. There's no need for that. That was just Harvick's anger getting the best of him. Obviously, the Busch Hornaday incident, that one's infamous. But when it comes to something like, AJ doing that send on Creed and locking up into him, people can't get really mad at that. Because that's just 2 guys racing for the win. You can't... Okay. One of my cats is making a weird noise. Anyway, I don't know. People can't get mad at someone going for a win like that. In hard racing, obviously, at a road course, we're going to expect that. But I can completely understand, the previous 2 incidents I mentioned with Harvick or Busch and the Darlington race between Briscoe and Busch. It's stuff like that where it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's pushing it. But at the end of the day, these guys are racing for money. These guys are racing for trophies, wins. It doesn't matter. So you can't get mad at them if someone gets bumped out of the way, it's fair game at that point. But getting dumped or doing something stupid in a series where you're really competing for nothing but that, but these guys are fighting for a championship in long term, it's petty. But I don't know. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that. Nevertheless, though, there's not really many other storylines to talk about as far as I'm aware. Do you guys know of anything?
Mm-mm.
Connor's looking around, thinking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Checking the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, aside from that, we've got predictions for this weekend. Open wheel back, IndyCar, F1. So, I don't know. We'll take it with IndyCar, Texas. This is typically a weird race. Last year we saw a close battle between Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin with the final lap pass. But nevertheless, predictions for your race winner. And if you want to, podium as well. So, Tyler, your go.
I don't watch IndyCar. I'm gonna say something random. Just because I think his name's kind of badass. I don't know his first name. Whatever the Stingray dude is.
Oh,
Badass
Stingray
name.
Robb.
Badass
You
name.
think Stingray Robb is going to get it done?
I think he's gonna do it. That damn name's too badass not to do it.
Okay. Fabian?
I'm gonna go with something a bit normal and just say willpower.
Boo.
Connor? You're not an IndyCar guy.
Me?
You're not really an IndyCar guy, aren't you? Yeah, no, you're a Joseph
I watch-
Newgarden fan.
I watch IndyCar all the time.
Yeah, totally. Anyways, continue. Is it
I
going to be
do.
Newgarden? Is it going to be Newgarden?
The PPG car will win the PPG
Okay.
Sponsor
You know
race,
you're
yeah.
getting
He
ignored.
won here last year.
Okay, and he won on a final lap pass. Your point.
Exactly. He might do it again.
Okay. Well, if he does it again, I owe you. If he does it the same way, I owe you $20.
Fair.
Okay. Nevertheless, Sal predicted Pato Award, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go David Malukas. I feel like that's the oddball for this one. He showed some promise at the ovals last year, so I don't know. He showed more at Gateway, but I think he can be the wild card for Texas. F1 Albert Park. Have fun with this one, guys. I don't know what Sal predicted. Max Verstappen? No, I don't know. Someone, Tyler, you
take.
go. I'll mention it when it loops back.
Man. Albert Park. Second race with the new changes, yes?
New changes.
To the track layout?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
second
yeah.
time, yeah.
Okay. Didn't watch last year. Last year's kind of irrelevant. I'm gonna say worked last week. Sergio Perez dub. I'm gonna say some unforeseen circumstance gonna take Max Verstappen out. Alonso P2. Leclerc P3.
Okay.
Going
So
off the
who are
board.
you saying winning?
Perez.
Okay. Fabian?
I'm gonna say, and I'm probably gonna be 100% wrong once we're back next week, but Fernando Alonso first win of the season. Aston Martin has been saying it has something cooked up for Australia this weekend. I don't know what they're cooking over there, but they're cooking something.
They're cooking something in a meth lab. What about the rest of your podium?
Rest of the podium, I'm gonna say Verstappen second, Checo third.
So the same three each week. Got it. Connor?
Yeah.
All right. This is the series I don't watch, but to avoid being basic, I am not going to pick Max Verstappen to win. I'll put him second. Third, I'm going to put Fernando Alonso. And then on top of the podium, I'm going to take a shot here. George Russell.
Oh, okay, so you're in the same ballpark as me. I'm predicting that Red Bull's gonna just eat it this weekend. Whether no matter what the case. I predict George Russell's gonna win. Fernando Alonso second. And here's the Jake crazy takes like usual. Valtteri Bottas gets third. That's my wild card. I have to pull one out. I have to do it. I'm predicting it. If Bottas gets third, then I don't even care what the rest of the podium is. If Bottas gets third, I'm losing my mind. You guys are disappointed in me. I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's going to get in a Mercedes this week? Is that what you think it is?
No. I just think Alfa Romeo has something that they're going to bring to the table.
I don't even watch IndyCar, and I know that's bad.
You don't watch IndyCar? You don't watch IndyCar? Oh, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Anyways.
I've been exposed.
Yep, okay. Texas Truck Series race. They're going to be like the feeder race to IndyCar this weekend. Anywho, Tyler, who's your pick to win?
Nick Sanchez.
Okay, if Fabian keeps doing that Dwayne The Rock Johnson look but doesn't say anything, I'm going to lose my mind.
Did you guys not hear my pick?
Yeah, I heard you say Nick Sanchez.
I was making
it's
sure.
just Fabian.
I was like, y'all were waiting. I was like, huh?
No, that's just Fabian. Anyways.
I don't watch any of Indy Lights or nothing, so I'm just gonna say Nick. Oh, trucks! God, I don't know why. Like Nick Sanchez is Indy.
Am I the only one that has my head completely on straight tonight?
Oh boy,
maybe.
Like,
oh, that was bad.
I'm like, what are you waiting on? Like, this is literally your thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Tanner Gray.
Okay, Connor.
All right. I think it's going to be Bethel Speedway legend Christian Eckes getting the dub this weekend.
In the Indy Lights race.
Yeah, in
yep.
the Indy Lights
race.
Because we all know they race at ovals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm scrolling through here. Would I be stupid to say Stuart Friesen?
No.
Okay. Then I'm gonna go Stuart Friesen. Xfinity Series and Cup, they're at Richmond. So Xfinity, Tyler.
I'm gonna blow your mind here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's been terrible, irrelevant, absolutely bad.
Blaney Perkins.
I think you mean Blaine, but that's not what I'm talking about. Cole Custer.
I'm gonna go with Nemechek. He was good last year. I think it was a race where he got moved by Ty Gibbs, correct?
Yep, absolutely ran over.
Great moment.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Nemechek.
So I feel like I've picked this guy a couple times and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm gonna do it again. Chandler Smith.
Okay. Ooh. I don't know. I look at this. Apparently, Kyle Weatherman's entering with that weird team. That's going to be a fun storyline if that's just a catastrophe. Thank God Joe Graff Jr.'s in the 19 car because that has a charter, and if he weren't, he'd probably miss out on qualifying again. Brandon Jones.
Okay.
Cup Series.
Man. This is a toss-up for me, man. You know what? I'm gonna be a little biased. Kyle Busch.
Not a bad pick. Just giving you shit.
Don't roll your eyes at me.
Ooh.
I say Bell gets JGR out of that weird slump they've been having.
Even though Tyler Reddick practically just did that, but we'll ignore that.
It's 23-11. It's different.
Same damn thing. Same damn thing. Connor.
Kevin Harvick gets his first win of the season this week at Richmond. Back-to-back Richmond races.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Okay, here's my wild card again. You guys ready for this one?
Sure.
Hit me with it.
He is a short track ringer for the most part. This is what his career is invested off of. ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Josh Berry in the 9 car. I think that's going to be
That's
your
not
Cup
where I
Series
thought
winner.
you were going with
Well,
that.
where did you think I was going with
I
that?
thought you were going to say Ryan Priest.
No!
I was about to turn my
no. To be fair, after he called the field a bunch of hacks, I'm slightly hoping he just does something stupid this weekend.
I literally had my mouse on the stop camera button because I thought that was where you're going. I was about to take my headset off and walk away.
You both thought I was gonna say Paris. What about you, Fabian? Who did you think I was gonna say?
Dude,
I don't know. I thought you were gonna say something not as weird, but pretty weird.
Oh, so you think Josh Berry's a weird pick?
No, I don't think he's a weird pick. It's just very. Actually, yeah, it is a very weird pick.
I mean, not
Yeah,
really.
Not really, but with these cars, it is.
He's
it
a
is
short track
something.
guy. We're at a real short track.
I
Yeah,
haven't won that many short tracks in Xfinity Series.
I don't think he's ever driven a short track or been in the next gen car at a short track.
Phoenix.
That's what's.
Well,
Phoenix.
Phoenix is there.
Yeah.
Wait, Connor, did you say you don't think he's won at a short track in the Xfinity
I
Series?
said not. He's only won like once. I think it was Martinsville.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about
Not
to
enough.
be like, what?
Not enough.
Okay. Anyways, oh no, I feel like he's gonna pull something out.
I don't think it's terrible. I just think that there's.
It's an interesting one. It's
Yeah.
a bold pick. It's not crazy like.
It makes
I'll
sense,
accept
but
it.
it's not a lock on.
Yeah, it's just kind of like if it happens, then I'm called the genius. If it doesn't happen, no one's gonna crucify me because it's not that absurd.
It wasn't like,
It wasn't like me saying, "Oh yeah, so by the way, you know how Mike Harmon's getting a cup car? Yeah, he's gonna win this weekend."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, yeah, Mike Harmon's getting a cup car.
really.
Yeah. They posted a teaser image of it, and you just judging by the photo, you can tell it's the next gen. So,
Interesting.
everyone put on your seatbelts. We're going to Applebee's. Because Mike Harmon's about to carve his way through the Cup Series with that team. Not sure what to expect out of that. Is there anything that needs to be said on that? Nothing.
Future Cup champion.
Yeah.
He's in his prime.
Put Carson Ware in the car. Put Carson
Future
Ware.
Cup champ breaking Bristol walls since 2002.
I mean, he didn't break the wall. It's more like he got broke because
I was
that
gonna say the wall
the
broke
wall.
in.
Yeah, the wall. In communist Russia, the wall breaks you. That's what happens. So I don't know what storyline or universe you're in. But aside from that, I don't think there's much news going on.
Not necessarily from what I know.
Yeah. I mean, the only two things going into Richmond are Krause's debuting in the Xfinity Series, and we got that 96 team that a lot of people are kind of like, is this legitimate? So, who really knows? Apparently, this is the team that bought out Brandonville.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll find out if they're legitimate or not, if they have pace or not. But I don't know if they do show up to Richmond. I could see Kyle Weatherman putting it in 20th.
I mean,
Kyle Weatherman kind of performs. Like, he just kind of sits there in 20th no matter what car he's in. But then again, we've never seen him in, like, a top-tier equipment per se.
Especially if they acquired everything from Brandon Belt. That team's not necessarily terrible.
Oh, yeah. Because they had RCR parts for a minute, right? Or affiliation.
I want to say so, yeah.
Yeah, it was that year he won, which ironically catastrophically killed his career. But there's nothing that can. Is there anything I could say? There's a lot of things I could say about
There's
that.
a lot of things you could say.
That's where he cut the line. We just know that the reporter that did that should be fired. But that's besides the point.
You mean Jamie Little?
It was not Jamie Little.
Really?
You know what? Get out of the meeting. Just
Damn.
for saying that. How to go? Okay.
All right, now that we're Fidel free.
I don't know. Is there anything else?
Not that I can think of, really.
Connor?
No, no.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No,
I'm
just go ahead and say it.
I feel like
No,
you're holding back something.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a prediction for Derek Krause's finishing
Okay,
position.
okay. Let's hear it.
I'm going to say he's going to run and finish in a solid 16th place.
That's not a bad pick or that's not a bad prediction. I thought he was going to finish 15th. So we have the same idea. Tyler, what about you?
Oh, I mean, we haven't seen much of the 10 car and ovals, so I would say
Derek Krause.
18th, 20th.
Okay. Well, that's enough said for this podcast. Not as long as last week's,
No.
which is a sigh of relief. Also sad because Fabian is boring.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We love Fabian around here.
we do.
But nevertheless, that's everything we've got for this week. So obviously, tune in next week, next Wednesday for the podcast, same time as usual, 12 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. We have out the weekly episodes now on Spotify. So if you guys want to listen to the podcast on Spotify, it is there. That will be in our link tree as well. For other content, I will be personally at the Sonoma Raceway this weekend covering the Fanatec GT World Challenge of America. So that's going to be a fun one to cover. So keep an eye on that on our social medias. But nevertheless, this is going to be an interesting weekend. Lots of motorsports going on. So I'm Jake Scarborough, joined by Tyler McIntosh, Connor Passman, and who is no longer with us, Fidel Fabian. So we'll see you guys next week, and goodbye.